This is Jim Ball reporting in Cedar Hill. Tom Vilsack, the Secretary of Agriculture, came to Robertson County today, specifically the Anderson Cattle Ranch in Cedar Hill. He came into town to meet with Tennessee producers to discuss the productivity of American agriculture and legislation related to food, farms, and jobs. The gentleman standing up there on your left in the pink shirt is Mr. Anderson himself of the Anderson Cattle Ranch in Cedar Hill. They were the hosts for today's activity with the Secretary. In a minute, I'm going to interview Mr. Anderson's grandson, Austin Anderson, and Austin is at Joe Burns High School and is presently the president of the FFA. Then, after the meeting is over, which I'm not videotaping, the agricultural secretary will step outside with the media and we'll toss a few questions at Tom. Due to the historical nature of the secretary's visit to Robertson County, Smokey's going to run lean on the editor, so we're going to let you see all the video footage we captured. Austin, what do you think? What did you walk away with today?
A whole new perspective on how the government and the political side of farming and agriculture, and how it goes on in office in Washington, and how much of a key part that local farmers' input is in the decisions and role play of the leaders in Washington of agriculture.
We're coming into an election season here. We're in the middle of it, actually. Are you going to be whispering in anybody's ear anything differently than you might have last week?
You know, it's just nice to see that side. Somebody of that level and that caliber of a leader from Washington can come down, to local farmers' levels and just, talk one-on-one and discuss key problems that in our everyday lives. So, as far as that question goes, he's a great guy, and I really think he means what he says.
The main message here, in part, is that we need to get what I like to refer to as the Food, Farm, and Jobs Bill done, because as long as it's not finished, we are losing trade opportunities and trade promotion opportunities. We're losing the ability to sign up folks with CRP. There is no disaster assistance for livestock producers, and the dairy producers are under a great deal of stress, and there's absolutely no avenue for us to be able to provide help beyond what we've already done. Plus, we have the uncertainty that's facing every producer about what those programs will be and how deep and steep the cuts will be, which may impact and affect their ability to obtain credit for next year's crop.
Obviously, you made reference in there that this is a great time to be in agriculture. If you were a young farmer, this would be the thing to get into.
I honestly believe this is one of the greatest periods of time we've seen, even with the drought, even with the difficulties and challenges of this year. The last 4 years have been very good years for agriculture. The record amount of exports, record amount of acres enrolled in conservation and land stewardship, and expansion of outdoor recreational opportunities, record expansion of local and regional food markets, which basically provide direct-to-consumer sales opportunities, now a multi-billion-dollar opportunity, and a continued expansion of bio-based product production, which is providing opportunities for new markets for agricultural crop residue, grasses, timber, and so forth. So this is actually a very significant time here. Record farm income, unemployment coming down in rural areas. It is a time for a young person to consider an opportunity in agriculture, whether it's a large operation or a small operation. There are obviously challenges, but I think the potential for us to take virtually everything we grow and raise and to convert it into everything we need, chemicals, fabrics, fibers, fuel, energy, is unlimited, and plus Americans are blessed with this extraordinary productivity, which means that we're a food secure nation. We don't have to worry about where our food's going to come from, and when we go to the grocery store, we leave a little more of our cash and our paychecks in our pocket than most people do around the world, so it's a great bargain.
Anything that these producers shared with you that surprised you or concerned you, or anything that stuck out?
No, it's obviously the concern about regulations and the perceived regulations, and I think it's important for me to be out to talk about what we're trying to do to create lines of communication. I think it's also important to put to rest some concerns about regulations that were never considered or regulations that have been pulled that are no longer should be of concern to folks. But I also think it's an important opportunity for us to talk about how we're creatively thinking about regulatory certainty and ecosystem markets and things that might create new opportunities that would incent rather than regulate, or provide greater reason for producers to be enrolled in conservation practices, for example. You know, and I think this gives me an opportunity to stress the importance of a single message coming from agriculture. So few people in America know how difficult this work is because they don't do it. So few people understand or appreciate what has to happen for that steak or that hamburger, or that pork chop or that chicken breast, or those fruits and vegetables to be on their plate, and how many people are involved. I really appreciated the conversation about immigration. I think that's an issue that agriculture has a particular perspective on, that the rest of the country needs to hear. Our food supply is directly related in part to immigration policy. We've got a broken system. It needs to be fixed. We're not going to disinvite, if you will, 12 million people. We've got to figure something out, and we've got to do it now because agriculture is potentially threatened if we delay.
You talk about the Farm Bill and its importance
Yeah.
to get passed, you know, especially seeing with the drought that we had earlier this year.
Well, a couple things. First, I mean, on an immediate side, a farm bill would basically provide dairy producers either a new structure that provides greater support for them, or a resumption at the very minimum of the MILC program, which is now out of business, and so they don't have the support and help that they have during a very difficult time. Livestock producers with a farm bill could potentially receive disaster assistance, which right now we're not able to give because those programs have expired. People are enrolled and interested in conservation and potentially putting an acre or two in CRP, can't do it because we can't have the capacity. The Beginning Farmer and Loan Program, which is so important to these young people coming out of college who want to farm, not available. The ability to promote trade. One of our great stories here is record exports, which helps to stabilize markets and keep these prices where they need to be so folks can profit. We can't do trade promotion because the Farm Bill hasn't passed. And then there's the issue of the uncertainty. If you're a producer and you go to your banker and you're talking about next year's crop, and the banker says, what assurance do I have that you're going to have a backstop or a safety net? You can talk about crop insurance, but there's nothing else beyond crop insurance. That banker may be a little bit more reluctant to provide the credit. So there's a lot of uncertainty at a time when we have this momentum building. Record farm income, as I said earlier, records in exports and conservation and bio-based products. Why wouldn't we want to continue that momentum? Because we finally have opportunities for young people. So I'm hopeful, but concerned. I'm hopeful that Congress gets the message and comes back prepared to do the work that they needed to do and should have done before September 30th. I'm concerned because of the cuts that the House leadership is calling for. $184 billion of cuts will substantially jeopardize, in my view, the farm safety net, and disproportionately put on rural America deficit reduction responsibilities when other departments of government need to contribute as well. So hopefully they get it done. It won't be easy. It'll be a lot harder now because it has to be done in the context of tax policy and sequester and across-the-board cuts, which complicates the picture a little bit. But hopefully it gets done, because if it doesn't, if we go on months and months and months, we risk going back to 1949 ag policy, and that would distort the markets and create a lot of chaos.
As you said, there's been some weather issues. Robertson County has been hit with some problems there, and I know you have worked hard to simplify the process to get aid. Do you want to talk about that?
Well, what we decided to do is to try to streamline the process to have a county declared a disaster area when they're hit with a drought or flood or tornado or whatever it might be. And then that makes emergency loan assistance more available, more readily available. We reduced the interest rate on those emergency loans. We got our sister agency, SBA, to engage in extending credit as well under their disaster program. We freed up the credit unions to provide more credit. We know that folks are going to be looking through a tough time to try to what that bridge is going to be. So credit becomes important. We've also worked with crop insurance companies to give folks a little break on interest that would accrue on unpaid premiums. Right through the month of October, they won't be accruing interest where they would have been, but for our action in the crop insurance companies. We're focused on double cropping. We realize that livestock producers are concerned about feed and forage next year. So to the extent that we can encourage double cropping, that might take some of the pressure off next spring. You know, the market's obviously adjusting. Numbers are down a bit, but we obviously don't want to get to a point where we totally go out of business, and that gets back to the question about the Farm Bill. To the extent that we have a Farm Bill, we can provide more assistance, more aid, more certainty, and that will create a more stable and secure agriculture.
The point being that you made it easier for the farmer to access those things.
We did, but there's only so much we can do. I think what farmers, particularly livestock and dairy producers and specialty crop producers, need is a little cash assistance to get through higher feed costs in a tough time. I can't provide that. I can buy product, which we've done. I can lower interest rates on loans, which we've done. I can make CRP land available for forage, which we've done. I can encourage double cropping, which we've done. But I can't write a check. And, you know, that's important. And we want to keep people on the land. We want to keep people in these rural communities because 16% of America's population lives in rural areas, but nearly 40% of the military comes from these rural areas, and there's a reason for that. It's because kids grow up understanding they got to give something back. If a farmer knows that he can't keep taking from the land, he's got to give something back to it, and kids grow up understanding anything that's important, you got to invest in. And so that's why they go into the service. So I want to keep that value alive and well.
You've enjoyed coming to Tennessee since you've been secretary, right?
Yeah, it's a great state. It's a great state. Good barbecue down here.
I guess briefly, can you talk about how important today's meeting was and moving forward, and what people can do to maybe try to help get the Farm Bill passed or urge?
Well, I think everybody's got a responsibility. It's not just the Secretary of Agriculture that's got to speak up. Actually, these folks have a lot more opportunity than I do. They see members of Congress, they see people running for office, and they need to basically ask them, what's your position on the level of cuts? Do you think 23 billion's right, 34 billion's right, or 184 billion's right? And when are you going to get it done? Do you understand and appreciate the stress that you've created by not doing your work? There's not a single farmer or producer in this county or this state that in the middle of a harvest or in the middle of whatever they're doing would just say, well, I think I'll just take a vacation, even though there's work to do. They work late. They work into the night. They work on the weekends. They work until it's done. And I would think that they would expect their Congress to do the same. Admissions to ag schools gone up tremendously, so that's very good. Thank you all very much.
Well, there you have it, Robertson County. As far as I could tell, most people seem to be pretty happy with what Tom had to say. Apparently he did a reasonable job answering their questions, and I'm pretty sure they fired a lot at him. Again, on your right, that's Mr. Anderson and his wife, Vicki. They were gracious to host the secretary today. As I understand it, they gave him a good tour and look around the area, so I'm sure he enjoyed that. Very nice of them, to the Andersons, to host this thing today. So there again on your left is Austin Anderson, the FFA president. I'm just letting the footage roll here so you can get a gander what you're seeing here. This is a Robertson County High School student. He goes to Joe Burns, and there he is hanging out with the Secretary of Agriculture. He had actually better access to the Secretary than I did, and so I think he's got a good future set out ahead of him. I hope you enjoyed our coverage of this event today. This has been Jim Ball reporting for SmokeyBarn.com's Robertson County Daily.
It may be the most important picture you'll ever have taken. A high-tech image with remarkable clarity that can help diagnose your medical condition and potentially save your life. Advanced medical imaging, all the services you need with convenience and compassion. Northcrest Medical Center, bringing exceptional care to our community.